Welcome back to our 10-part series on yacht handling and maneuvering. Today, we're going to break down how to dock in a marina along a finger dock. We'll go through the process step by step, considering wind direction and how it affects the boat. There are two key scenarios to prepare for: when the wind is blowing you onto the dock and when the wind is blowing you off. Let's start with a situation where the wind is pushing you onto the dock. This is the easier of the two because the wind is doing some of the work for you. However, even though the wind helps, you still need to control the approach carefully to avoid hitting the dock too hard or ending up in the wrong position. As you approach your slip, keep your speed slow and controlled. Remember, slow is pro. You can use short bursts of forward power to maintain your approach. If you're coming in too fast, the wind will not be enough to slow you down before you make contact with the dock, which could cause damage. Once your stern reaches the dock, put the engine briefly in forward to stop the boat's reverse motion. The wind will naturally push you in against the dock, but be mindful that too much forward power could push you too far away. At this point, it's crucial to secure the boat before the wind has a chance to cause unnecessary movement. The first line you should secure is the stern line. This prevents the front from swinging downwind into the dock. If the stern swings out, the front will push in even harder, which could cause issues with fenders or even result in the front striking the dock at an awkward angle. Once the stern line is secure, you can use small adjustments with the engine to keep the boat snug against the dock. The front will stay in place due to pressure on the stern line. From here, you can step off and secure the front line, followed by spring lines for extra stability. Spring lines help prevent the boat from surging forward or backward due to wind gusts or water movement. Once you're tied up, take a moment to assess how the boat is sitting. Make sure your fenders are properly positioned and that the lines are snug but not overly tight. A little slack in the lines allows for some movement without causing excessive strain on the cleats or the boat. Wind blowing off the dock. Now, let's talk about the more challenging scenario when the wind is blowing you off the dock. In this case, you have to counteract the wind's force to keep control of the boat. As you approach, come in at a slightly steeper angle, around 30 to 40 degrees, with a little more momentum than usual. If you come in too slow, the wind will push you off before you can get a line on, leaving you drifting away from your berth. This can be particularly tricky in narrow marina fairways, where you don't have much room to maneuver. Once your stern reaches the dock, the key is to get a windward stern line on as quickly as possible. This is critical because it allows you to use the engine to help hold the boat against the dock. Without this line, the wind will push you off before you have a chance to properly secure the boat. Here's the trick: secure the windward stern line to a cleat on the dock, then put the engine in forward at idle while turning the wheel toward the dock. This will drive the boat forward against the stern line, pulling the front up into the wind and keeping you close to the dock. The prop walk will also help keep the stern in place. If you have crew on board, they should be ready to step off quickly and secure the line, but always emphasize safety. Never jump off the boat if it's not safe. If you're docking solo, you may need to use a boat hook to loop the line over a cleat and then quickly shift the engine into forward to hold your position. With the boat stable, you can then step off safely and secure the front line. Once the front is tied off, you can add a forward spring line if needed. Spring lines are particularly useful in this situation because they help keep the boat from being pushed backward by the wind. A common challenge in this situation is the front blowing downwind faster than the stern. In both scenarios, the windward stern line is your best tool for keeping control. When the wind is pushing you onto the dock, it stops the stern from swinging out. When the wind is pushing you off, it lets you drive against it to keep the boat close. In all docking situations, patience is key. If you don't get the approach right the first time, don't force it. Back out, reset, and try again. Rushing a docking maneuver usually leads to more problems. Another useful tip is to always have fenders properly positioned before you attempt to dock. If the wind is blowing you off, fenders can give you a bit of a cushion if you momentarily make contact. If the wind is pushing you on, well-placed fenders can prevent unnecessary scraping or hard impacts. Additionally, always consider the tide and current if they are factors in your marina. Even if the wind is the dominant force, a strong current can influence your boat's movement, so take that into account when planning your approach. By mastering these techniques, you'll be able to dock confidently in a wide range of conditions. As always, practice makes perfect, so take the time to rehearse these maneuvers in different wind conditions. Happy docking!